Hello, lovely people out there. I'm here once again, joined by the great friend and very great guy, Hogne Kirkebø. We're gonna do this interview part 2 about pornography and sexuality. For that, we started a questionnaire to see what you guys are interested in. And yeah, some of the findings were really interesting. First of all, nearly most of the guys saw that pornography can affect or does affect their sexuality and their uh, how they perceive women. I even want to quote an answer which I found really great, and he said, "I quit in January and have not regretted it. Afterwards, I found the beauty in women again and felt more drawn to the naturalness." And I love this because it's the experience I made. It's the experience I heard a few others make, and so that's basically the whole aim where we're going for with this, to really see the beauty again in women and to see the beauty in your own sexuality. So that's what I found really great. Secondly, what we found that people, or in this case guys, seem to be really confident when it comes to skills you can learn. For example, a conversation with a woman, for example, massages, maybe even tongue and finger skills. And these are kind of the things you can read about, you can try out, and yeah, basically you can learn them. Now, there are some kind of problems guys have. For example, they have like an issue with their body shape or with certain parts of the body. So Hogne, what would you say to that?
To all of that, or just something in specific?
Yeah, I don't know. Just let's start with body shape, because maybe you have the picture that it's women that are what's the word, have issues with their bodies, but these are men too, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like that when we have issues about our body, we get more self-conscious, and that takes you out of the moment, takes you out of the presence, because you are in your head about thinking, how am I looking? Is my belly fat? Or and all this sort of silly thoughts, and that's not helping us at all. But the main thing about body shape is that it's your body, it's no one else's body, and it's up to you whether if you want to own your body or not. And that comes back again into self-love. So if you have issues about your body, you most likely have issues in other areas as well. And for me, it's a very easy and very simple place to start as well. It's the physical, and you can see tangible results. So it's a great place to start, and it's also a great way to help yourself feel good about yourself. And it doesn't have to be difficult or challenging. It's just about showing up and having an idea of where you want to go and getting the information and the tools you need to do that. So we all have the resources and capabilities to do exactly that, and it's about time and that we all start owning our own body.
Really, really interesting. So yeah, let me ask you very practical. How do I own my body?
Well, who's gonna make your body look good? There's no one else than you that can go to the gym or do push-ups at home or do squats or whatever. It's no one else. I found for myself that how I treat myself is directly correlated to how much I love myself. And the deeper I've gone with my insights about myself and the things that is holding me back, nutrition and fitness is something that has come automatically. And I have had quite an incredible transformation there the last 8 months now. And we make it a lot more difficult than it is. But there's no one else who's going to do the work. There's no one else who can do the work. And it's just by starting somewhere and taking small steps, and suddenly you're in a much better shape than you ever imagined. And I'm 31 now. I'm in better shape than I've ever been my entire life, and that's great. And I love that. And that came naturally from going deeper into myself and letting go of my expectations. And a lot of the reasons that we want to have a good body is that we want to please other people. But when we have a healthy mind, we also have a healthy body, and healthy looks good. And that's where we need to look, because healthy looks good. And when we are healthy, we naturally attract more other people. We naturally attract healthy people as well. So it's a natural progression in at least how it looks to me.
Yeah, so let me ask you about this. So you say this, it's the wrong way to push yourself and go out and do all the physical stuff to improve your body. Is it wrong?
No, it's great, but do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Because if you're doing it because you want validation for someone else, you're looking outside of yourself to feel good. And your own well-being can only come from within yourself. And that's why it's often so difficult to really start working out, because it's not true motivation when you're doing it for someone else. It's not coming from a whole place inside you. It's coming from a misunderstanding. And misunderstandings rarely take us that far into anywhere good.
Yeah, guys, really listen to that. That's a gold nugget of wisdom there, really. Because I wholeheartedly agree, and I found this true for myself as well. Yeah, and kind of closely related, there's the issue of the performance, because it seems guys have so many thinking around, I need to perform good, I need to last 30 minutes, an hour, I don't know, I need to every time satisfy my girlfriend to the fullest, and whatever. What does what does these thoughts have an effect on us?
So when we lose erection, for example, it's our body telling us that we're not in a good state of mind. And from my own experience, that usually came with feelings of anxiety, or because I was nervous about having sex, because I felt that I needed to perform. If not, I weren't good enough. And when we are going into that and we're feeling our bodies reacting, it's a massive signpost, like the warning lamp in your car dashboard. That is something for you to look at here. And when we're having those feelings of anxiety or nervousness, that means that there is a misunderstanding playing out right now. There is something going on that we're not aware of. And for myself, I had that belief that when I were in a relationship, well, the more emotionally invested I were in someone, the more performance anxiety would I have. And that was a really strange thing, because when I had one-night stands or exploring or having friends with benefits, it was great sex, and then you have a relationship suddenly, and you have all these thoughts coming on. It really fucks with your head, and that also comes back to, we are giving our own value to the other person, that how they feel about our sex is determining how I feel. And that's a misunderstanding. I'm looking to the woman for a response about how to feel that. I need to give her great sex, because if not, something is going to happen. That's usually the belief system that we have when we're nervous, that if we don't do this well, something bad is going to happen. And it's not our responsibility to give someone else good sex. I like the metaphor about the bus. So if your life is a bus and your girlfriend life is a bus, and we're more concerned what's going on in her bus, that we're not really present driving our own bus. And what I found is that what really turns women on is not the techniques, it's not all that stuff, it's how much we're enjoying her. And if we aren't really present in ourselves, in our own body, we're not really enjoying her. Because women love hearing when a guy really enjoys her. They enjoy. That's a massive turn on for them. Because all women want to be wanted and loved, and all want to be fucked as well. But if we are nervous, we're not really enjoying her. We're not really having fun. And that's pretty much the core of things, that as long as you're having fun, that's great. That's the most important thing. If she has an orgasm or she has 100, doesn't really matter. So when we're nervous, we're getting caught up in someone else's business. We're getting caught up with her bus instead of our own bus. So the thing is that we need to stay in our own business. If she has an orgasm or not, that's her business. If I'm enjoying sex or not, that's my business. It's a bit unusual way of thinking about it, but it's so much true that our discomfort, our suffering comes from when we are getting caught up in someone else's business. We're getting caught up with someone else. And that takes us away from ourselves. And that goes for everything that we can experience, everything. If we're angry at someone, we're getting caught up with how they're behaving. We're arguing with the reality that they should behave in a different way than they are. And that's the same that when we lose erection, that we get more frustrated because we shouldn't be losing erection. We should have a massive erection. And then that itself, we're arguing with reality, because the reality is that I'm losing my erection, and that is telling me something, but I'm not listening. So the lack of erection isn't telling you anything, but there's something for you to listen to. There's something for you to hear, for you to see. And it's definitely not saying that something is wrong with you. And that's a massive and important thing to see.
Yeah, that's a really, really interesting point to hear. Just as I'm responsible for having my fun, she's responsible for having her fun.
Yeah.
But maybe let's clarify. Do you mean you shouldn't care about what the girl or the partner needs, wants, and desires, or are you saying something different? Because I know you are.
I'm definitely saying something else. So when you're in a good space within yourself and you're present and you're really enjoying her, that means that you are actually enjoying the moment, and that means that you're in connection with yourself. And if you're not in connection with her, you're not going to enjoy yourself, pretty much. So it's not about being disconnected or not being concerned about her, how she enjoys it. But I find that we have to start with ourselves. If we are not enjoying it, how can she really enjoy it? Because a woman notices if a man is present or not. And when you're really, really enjoying her, when you're in a good space, that's what happens. When you're enjoying yourself, you're enjoying her. And when you're enjoying her, you're doing all the natural things that comes to you. You're touching her, it's a bit difficult to explain properly, but when you're in a great space and you have a woman that you're crazy about, of course you're going to do anything you want, or you're going to enjoy her as much as you can. And that will, in a natural way, play out in a way that's enjoying for her as well. And it's like that with my girlfriend. I'm enjoying her as much as I can. I love touching her, and she says that she can feel that I enjoy touching her, that I'm touching her a lot, and she can feel in my hands how much I want her. She's enjoying that, but that's because I'm enjoying myself with her. So the point is, where is it all coming from? It's coming from you. And when you're starting with a point of view that is coming from within you, you have such a different capability to make the other person also have incredible orgasms or all these kind of things. But first, it comes from a deep connection with yourself in the moment. If that makes sense.
It makes absolute sense for me, and I hope that the listeners are too seeing the really it's two separate things, not caring and caring for yourself, but caring for the other.
Yeah. Yeah, because in the essence, we can only take responsibility for ourselves. So, for example, if I'm having sex with a woman and she's not relaxing, I can, of course, help her to relax. But in the end, it's her responsibility to relax and let go and do the work on herself so that she might enjoy sex. We can read minds. Well, we can, of course, try, but we can only take responsibility for ourselves. And the more in control we are over ourselves, the better we are. Well, it's letting go and being in control at the same time. It's not separate. It's something of the same thing. That when we're in a proper state of mind, it just flows naturally. And then we naturally also help others to quieten down, because it's like osmosis. When you're in a good state, you're passing that on to the other person. So that's what we want to do, to become as grounded as we can on our own, so we also can help the other person. It's a natural thing. It's not a technique. It's not something you do. It's something that happens naturally when you are in a good space.
Yeah, then let me ask the directly follow-up question. How do I get into this very natural space, as you call it? And I kind of know your answer, but maybe the listener doesn't.
I've been doing something very, very interesting of late that's been giving me huge, massive shifts. And it's that when we are having a reaction to something, we have a belief or a misunderstanding that's going on in our head. And there's a misunderstanding that we believe to be true, that is something that we haven't examined. And it's like that our feelings is giving us feedback. There's something here for you to see. And when we look at that direction, we see this thread that we can pick up, we can examine it, and we can look at it from a new perspective and try to see through the misunderstanding in it. And I found that the work by Byron Katie is an incredible way, using her 4 questions. And also the principles is an incredible way of also doing that. So in terms of a how, I think the work is pretty much the best way to go at it. And that's what I'm doing a lot lately. And one of my biggest insights was that in my previous relationships and also in my current one, I had this repeating pattern that I wanted my partner to say that she loves me. And I'm sure that's true for everyone. But when I felt that my partner didn't say that, I was showering them with affection and love and all these kind of things and compliments and doing more than what's really natural, because I wanted something back. I wanted to be told, I wanted to hear that they loved me, because then I would know that I was good enough. So when we go into these misunderstandings and we turn them around a bit, we can see through them, and that suddenly takes off a lot of thinking off our mind. And when we have these beliefs, like for example, that I'm nervous to have sex because, or I'm afraid to have sex with my girlfriend because I might lose my erection, or that when we believe that thought to be true, that is really affecting our behavior. So it's to realize that we are believing a bunch of thoughts that's not true to be true. And that's causing us a lot of suffering. So it's a misunderstanding in itself. And there's so many ways to look into our misunderstandings, and the work and principles is, in my opinion, the best ones to do that.
Yeah, this is once again where I really agree, and I recommend everyone to go and check this out. It's on the one hand the 3 principles, and on the other the work by Byron Katie. I really encourage you to do that. So you said something really interesting, which kind of relates to another question there was. You said you did something in a previous relationship and you've been doing it uh, in this one too. So I don't know how to phrase the question, but do you need to wait and clear these things up before going into a new relationship? Would you say that?
Good question. So my girlfriend, she's perfect for me because she pushes all my buttons. It's great. I love it. It's fantastic. It's incredible because every time she pushes my button, it shows me where I have a misunderstanding. And that's why she's a great girlfriend for me, because she's my medicine. She's presenting me with opportunity to let go of so much shit. And I didn't know all this stuff that I did now in my previous relationship 5-6 years ago. I had no idea. I had no idea about the thought-mind connection or about consciousness. And I was believing my thoughts to be true all the time, and I was being reactive. I was passing a lot of judgment and thinking for example, in my previous relationship, that she needed to change. But it had nothing to do with her. It was all about me. So no, you don't need to let go of all this stuff before you are in a relationship, because in a relationship in itself is just an incredible, powerful way to keep growing. And for me, I see that with my girlfriend, when we met, I've never grown so much in such a short amount of time, because she is pushing my buttons, and I have the opportunity to become reactive and disconnect from her, or I can do the work on myself. I can do what's necessary to let go of those buttons. And being a relationship is, in my opinion, one of the best and most efficient ways to grow as a human being, or as a man. And that's what happens when you get aware. That's the same in my current relationship now, that we can't hide anything. Both of us notice when something is off. We notice it immediately, and sometimes we just have to let it go for a little while, because we're getting frustrated and we're not talking to each other properly. And sometimes we have an insight about it. But I noticed that I also had this, in the beginning of this relationship, I also had this underlying unconscious thought I needed her to change, like in my previous relationship. That I want my girlfriend to look into personal development. But that's not true. It's not true at all. And so how reactive I was 1 month ago is massively different now, actually. Because I looked through a lot of these misunderstandings that I have by using the work. And I realized that when my girlfriend, she just spent 11 days here with me, and the things that I would have been reactive to just a few weeks ago, I was completely calm now. There was nothing coming up. And she also said, and I also felt the same, and I said that to her, that I'm just feeling more and more love for her. I'm just feeling more and more connected to her. And she hasn't changed, but I have changed. I have changed a lot. So if she changes in my perspective, and that makes it easier for me to relate to her. It makes it easier for me to connect to her. So my point is that you don't need to do all this stuff to be in a relationship. You can be in a relationship right now, and you already are with yourself. And that's the primary relationship we need to work on, your relationship to yourself, and also our judgments towards each other, how we relate to other people, because we do have a lot of judgments and issues, and when we let go of those, we automatically behave different in our relationship.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it, really. Maybe before getting to an end with this interview, let's dive a little bit deeper into the raw masculinity and sexuality we kind of have, we kind of looking for, but we don't feel it because, like I said in the beginning, there's stuff we can learn and it's great. We learn it and we use it. But when I talk to people or when I read the answers, it's more like there's something underlying. People cannot pinpoint it, but there is something. Something they do not feel comfortable, something they even try to hide, something they are not ready or even ashamed to express, right? And I, for lack of better words, I'll call it raw sexuality or raw masculinity. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, in general, there's so much focus on masculinity in the seduction community and all this stuff, and I'm not really focused on that at all, because you are who you are, and what's masculine for you is going to be different for what's masculine for me. And the thing that is keeping us from expressing ourselves as who we really are is just fears, just misunderstandings. It's nothing else. And I also had that, and I still have that in some areas, in some moments. Depends on my state of mind. That's the only difference between when I'm in my masculine, proper masculine, or when I'm not. It's just my state of mind. And when we are afraid of letting go, for example, when we're having sex, we are not touching her as we want. We are not really pulling her hair as we want. We're not really grabbing her by the hips or butt or whatever. We're not really letting go. And I saw for myself that was because I was afraid of being rejected. I was afraid of that my sexuality was weird, or I was strange or anything like that. So I held back a lot. And that's where we should be looking, not what is masculine or having all these concepts and ideas of what's masculine, because you are who you are. And we're shrouded in misunderstanding and have all these fears. And when we strip away those, that the person who we are with our own balance of the feminine and masculine comes out more and more naturally. So we all have the feminine, we all have the masculine inside of us, and we all have a different balance of it. So the key is to let go of the balance of the feminine and masculine you have inside you, and let that go into the world. To take that out and put it into your relationship, put that into your work or your music or your sex. So we don't need to look too much into artificial concepts about how a man should behave, because it's about how you behave, not about anyone else. And when we're coming from a fundamental good place and a good state of mind, we can't do anything wrong. There's nothing wrong. So that's the core place to look, because we do have a lot of judgments and about ourselves and about what's okay or not. And if you think about it, we have no idea how sex looks like, other than porn. Is that a good way to have an idea about how sex looks like? Unless you have seen someone else have sex, and they have usually also seen how sex looks like by porn. So in general, we have actually no idea how sex actually looks like. If you think about it, we have no idea. And that's the beauty of it, that we can start on scratch. We can just enjoy it. Penis go into vagina, or butthole, or mouth, or the kind of orifice that you prefer. But the point is that it's just about letting go. And who you are will naturally come forward. And I tend to see that we have a partner that, when we let go of our misunderstandings, we have a sexual chemistry that's perfect. And see that in a relationship. My girlfriend, she's perfect for how I want sex. And then I see the more I let go and the more I enjoy our sex, I just see how how compatible we really are. So the true compatibility lies beyond our misunderstandings. Mm-hmm.
Wow, great. I love it. Like, once again, the pointing finger to letting go, be yourself, but be your true self, not something you make up to want to be that self. Oh, it's even easier than that, but I find it's so often, it's so easy, we kind of do not believe that anymore. It has to be complicated, right?
Yeah, it has to be a technique. It has to be something you can be told at a workshop so people can make money on it.
Yeah. All right, Hogne. I think we covered the main points. If you have any last words you want to share or tell the guys, I think now it's the time.
Mm-hmm. Something also to add about being nervous and things like that is that we don't have to compare ourselves to other people. We don't have to know that we are at the best sex that our girl has ever had, because that's also being her in her business. So we can have the best sex every time we have sex. I can have the best sex that I can have in every moment. And if I get too caught up with if she's having the best sex she's ever had, then I'm on to the thin ice again. So we don't need to compare ourselves. We don't need to be the best sex she's ever had. And the thing is that when we let go of those concepts, that's what naturally would happen, that we would be having the greatest sex of our life. So great sex doesn't come from techniques. It comes from state of mind and letting go and becoming who you really are. So for me, in my opinion, great sex is a great opportunity to discover yourself and what you're really capable of in so many ways. Because it's the most intimate and most profound way to express yourself in an intimate way with someone, hopefully, that you love. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for your time. And if you would leave some words about where people can contact you or get to know you or ask questions, that would be great, I think.
Yeah, my website or on Facebook is perfect. You can add the link in the text.
Absolutely, we'll do that. All right, Hogne. Thanks a lot. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed that.
Definitely.
Have fun. All right. Bye.
Bye.